This is a scene from Bad Fathers. Action. Narration by Mother Who Died, Single Parent. I always knew I was gonna die, but I never realized it would be by the hands of the man that I loved. The man that fathered my child. Yes, it was him that buried me sooner than I was supposed to die. Because of the fact that he was a coward and a bad father who ignored his responsibilities, who never spent hardly any time with his child, 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This man ignored his own child. Never once picking up the phone just to say, "I love you. How are you, son?" To even care about him as a human being. This man was a terror. He knew very well what he was doing, and that's why he did it. And that's why a lot of bad fathers do this. Is because it's their last little torture, abusive tactic that they play on women to show them, look, I'm not going to support you. I'm not going to support my child just to pay you back. Just to prove to you that I'd never loved you or my own kid. Okay, that's how these men behave in the 21st century. Ready to take down and bury their exes before their time due to the stress of life, of raising their kids on their own. They do it on purpose. It's part of the torture and the punishment for loving a man incapable of giving love. Do they read their Bible? Do they know that in the Bible it says a man who doesn't take care of his own child is worse than an infidel, worse than a non-Bible, God-believing person? No, they don't care. They don't even know that Bible verse because they have no fear and no conscience of God. And when they die, and when they have to be held accountable to the Lord Jesus as to why they left all of the burden on the mother and left and abandoned their own child from the needs and the role that they were supposed to fulfill in guiding their child to Jesus and to the right way of life, what do they have to say for their excuse? Oh, I hated my baby mama. It's my baby mama's fault, that bitch. Is that what you're gonna tell God? Had this man stepped up to his role and did what he was supposed to do, what God assigned him to, and fulfilled his assignment as a man, okay? Because no man abandons his role and his duties that God assigned him to, okay? There's nothing that can justify not raising your child, not spending quality time with them. I don't care what the mother did, okay? I could understand that maybe the child did something to you or didn't want to see you, but if the child was reaching out to you constantly, and you just kept shutting it down and not having no time. And every time you call the house, you don't have a minute for your child. You can't even pick them up and take them to play basketball. You can't take them out to eat and just sit there and care about them as a human being. That is one of the cold-bloodedest, man. And what they're putting over their child, golf, white women, some woman who's, I guess, successful in life, that can pay their bills. In order for them to be in that woman's life, they have to prove to them that their child is worthless. Okay? That they have nothing to do with the child. You man should be ashamed of yourself. Because you have murder on your hands, okay? You are murdering off your baby mamas and causing them early deaths. You're murdering off your own kids, causing suicides, causing them to go through all kinds of drama from not having a father, okay? From you abandoning them because you just couldn't fulfill your role that God assigned you to. You're worse than an infidel. You're the most trifling human species that ever walked the face of the earth, okay? You think the slave masters were bad? You think slavery was worse? No, you were worse than a slave master, and because even a slave master cares about his slaves dying off, okay? So because he might lose some money and he can't get his crops done and he can't get the work done, so at least he tries a little bit to care. But you baby daddies, you don't give a shit at all about your kid. You hope it dies, okay, so you can save on child support. You're so low and scum is what you guys are. And there's no court of law that can even hold up, and we can't even sue you, okay, for not being a father, for being absent, for ruining your own child's life. You can't even be held accountable because men are judges, okay? Men and women who are the most cold-blooded in secret societies that run courts that protect bad fathers, okay? Oh yeah, they'll slam them with some child support payments or some child care and medical, but do they slam them for being deadbeats? No. Is there a fine for that? No. Do you think that's like basics of life, to fine people for not taking care of human life? No, that wasn't discovered because men run the court system, so they freed themselves from this because they wanted to get away with murder, okay? These men are nothing less than murderers. They murder their children with their voices, with their sound of what comes out their mouth, by terrorizing the mothers and always putting them down and teaching the children to grow up to hate themselves and hate their families, hate their moms. You guys are nothing less than calculated, pure, cold-blooded assassins. And most of them work for the government, okay? They don't give a shit about these kids. They rather get their little government check, okay, and their jobs and their security pay, okay, working for the feds or the state or some big manufacturer who's paying and footing the bill for them to be the deadbeat dad and cut their kid out of the money, okay? Because that's what it all boils down to, is why they don't want to be a father, is because they're selfish and they want to hold on to every little last dime they can try to save for themselves, for their little Nike gear and their little sweatsuits and their little power outfits and their crappy cars and their little toys. They're a bunch of low-life scum bastard. Bozo the clown, motherfucking low-life piece of shit ever that walked the face of the earth. Okay? And you guys deserve to go to hell. That's where your final resting place will be for what you did to society and tearing down families and children and women and leaving them with no hope in this world, in this crazy, fucked up world. Okay, you are totally responsible, and you will be held accountable one day to our Father in heaven, Lord Jesus, for murdering off your baby mamas too soon, for terrorizing us, for the stress that you put on us, that we had to take care of your kid, and you couldn't even help us because it takes two people to raise children and even a village.